I got a job while I was in college at a photography studio, and that was kind of something I always wanted to do. So that was exciting, and I went from there. I worked in that company for about 5 to 7 years, and I traveled, and it was long hours, it was good money, but it was like very greedy kind of company. And then I moved back to Dallas, and I started my photography business, and I got noticed by a large company that owns a couple of the classier, like the best kind of clubs that there are in Dallas. So they hired me to be the resident photographer, which means that you work 4 nights a week, you start at 11 p.m. and you go home at like 3 a.m. and you just shoot. You shoot what happens, you shoot what's going on, and it shows up in all of the tabloids, all the newspapers the next day. When I would shoot in different nightclubs, and that's how it was. I mean, if a camera walked in the room, girls were so willing to do anything. I saw girls take off their tops, expose their breasts, and you know, making out with each other, you know. And they're not lesbians, but there's a camera there, so I'll be a lesbian if you're going to put me on TV. It was just too much for me. Like, I don't know, it kind of wore me down after a while when that's all that your life is about. That's the only people that you're around. Money and greed and party, all of this lifestyle. After a while, you start to think, like, is this what life is about? And I had many conversations about that. Is this what my life is about? I would talk to my friends, because I talk a lot, and I would just tell them everything that was on my mind, and I would complain, and I would say, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of living this way, you know, and they would tell me, what's wrong with your life? It's cool, you know, you get to party, you get to be around these cool people, you get to do whatever you want, this is what you do for a living. But when that's all that you do, it's not so cool anymore. You know, when you see what people are like behind their mask, you know, it's kind of scary. I heard story after story of people who had converted to Islam, and it was like all of the reasons that they were saying, it was like they were saying, hey Nicole, we're just like you, we're converting for the same reason, this is, you know, this is the place for you to be. The religion was just kind of like what I was looking for. It was like simplest, you know, it was like you and God, you live your life for God. And that's it. You know, you don't pray to anybody else. You don't want anything else. You don't need to go and you know, explain your sins to someone else and then he's going to pass it to God. You know, you don't have to go through a middleman. It's just you and God. So I felt like it was kind of what I needed in my life.
So many girls would die for your life. What would you tell those girls?
You know what, I still tell them, even now, it's not what it seems, you know, nothing is what it seems. TV is not what it seems. Reality shows are not real. It's not real. And neither are any of the people involved, you know. It's a vicious circle of everybody is alone, and they keep on living their life for these temporary satisfactions and, you know, temporary pleasure. It's self-indulgent, it's all of the same thing, and it's just a vicious circle, and it keeps going to where I've gone back to cafes that I used to eat at that were popular places, and I see the same people wearing the same clothes, doing the same thing that they did 3 years ago, and nothing has changed. They never move forward. They just stay there because that's what it's like. You have no one to pull you out, you know, and they want to get out. I really think that, what are you living for? You're never going to have enough money. You're never going to be beautiful enough. You're never going to have enough clothing, you know. Someone's going to wear the same thing that you're wearing, and you're not going to look as good in it, you know. It's just, it's always going to be that way if that's how you live. It's never enough, and you're never the top. You're never going to be at the top. I had clothing that you had to tape onto your body, you know, and I'll tell you, you know, when I was going through the transition of becoming like a real Muslim. Like, I went to classes, and it was a change, you know. I didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to wear the scarf and I'm going to be a completely different person. You have to go through a transition. The day that I realized that I hated how I dressed, I had a big closet full of party clothes, because that was what I wore to work, and that was where I was all the time, and you couldn't find something in there that you could wear to go have lunch with your grandmother, you know. It was like, that's the kind of closet it was. One of the first days that I was going to go to the class, I needed something really conservative to wear to go into the mosque, you know. And when I realized that I had nothing that I could wear that I would feel like I was respectful, like, you know, something long-sleeved or pants that were really long and loose, when I realized I had nothing like that, and that's how I had been dressing the whole time, and I had already started getting the feeling of Islam, like, in my heart, it was like, that day, I remember, I just started crying, and I was like ripping the clothes out of my closet, like, I hate this, and I had like a pile behind me, and it just kept coming, and everything that I saw that I couldn't wear and feel respectful in, I threw it into the pile. You can never please them, you can never show enough skin, you know, you can never look good enough. So I said, I'm not going to do it anymore, I'm not going to live like that anymore, and I'm never going to feel that way. But like, when I walked in, people knew this is a religious girl. She doesn't dress for us, she dresses for God, you know, she covers her body. And that's the best feeling. It feels like you took away anyone's right to look at you in a disrespectful way. Nobody can look at you like that. Nobody can think you're some piece of meat, you know. You're raised to think that you need to look hot and you need to be hot, and that's how you're going to get on TV, and that's how you're going to be somebody, you know. It's not, you'll have a select few girls who are brilliant and who make something of themselves, and everybody makes a big deal out of it, but that's not as glamorous as the girl, you know, who was in the same class with her that maybe had a better body, and she's on TV because she took her clothes off and she was in the shower with another girl, you know, and that's awesome, and that's glamorous. This is America, and it's sick. It's really embarrassing. It's like, and people, that's what people think about when they think of us. They think about what they see on TV, just like that's how we get our ideas about other people. And when they see Girls Gone Wild, which is all over the internet, it's all over the commercials, that's what they think. Like, this is what teenage girls do in America. They take their clothes off and they get on a bus and let someone film them. And that's what girls here think that they have to do to get noticed. Well, when you dress in a bad way, there's only one thought, you know. You're trying to attract attention from the only people who are attracted to that, which is men, you know. She's not wearing that for me. She's not wearing that for girls because she thinks that we're going to think it's pretty. They dress that way because it attracts the attention of men, which then gives them this feeling that they're being accepted more, or that maybe that guy, for a moment, maybe he loves them, or maybe he likes them, and they get that attention. You want them to desire you know. I mean, just sit and think about it. Why are you wearing that? Why are you showing your rear end? Why are you showing that? Because you want someone to notice it, and you want to look good, because that's what you're told to do, you know. So where is the moral, you know? Are we raising our daughters to think I'm a jewel and I need to cover myself up, and the man that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with deserves to see something that everybody else hasn't seen yet? You know, I mean, do they even have anything left to show their husband when they get married that they didn't show, you know, Johnny at Starbucks or every bozo at Walmart? I didn't know what I was aiming for, you know. I was living what was considered to be a great life and glamorous and having a good time, but there was nothing there, you know. So, and I saw a lot of other people who were doing a lot better than I was, and they had nothing either. So I don't think anybody knows what they're living for, and I'm just glad that I do now. You know, I live for a higher power, and that's it.